For a little bit more on what we are expecting from the Obama administration, we are joined right now by Allen Sinai. He is chief global economist at Decision Economics. He has been an advisor and has consulted with a number of presidential administrations and the Federal Reserve. He is joining us from Boston this morning. Allen, always good to talk to you. Based on what we are expecting, what we think we are going to hear, what do you think of these key talking points?
You know, I think it's good. I think by and large, the bottom line is what is being proposed, long overdue, fills a lot of the holes that got us into trouble. It's a sweeping reform. It is the biggest reform regulation for the financial system since the 1930s, and it is really needed. We're going to debate and discuss parts of it, but overall, I give the administration tremendous credit. Tremendous amount of collaboration, discussion is going on with all kinds of people. And we have a very intelligent, very positive program coming out of the administration.
Allen, how confident are you that the Obama administration is going to strike the right tone between proposing regulation that looks good on paper and proposing regulation that's actually going to be followed and work in the marketplace?
I have to be cautious about that. It would be true no matter what administration or Congress proposed a set of rules. I'm part of the markets, and I think we will be skeptical, and we will be looking to see, show me. But the bottom line, one of the bottom lines of all of this is it is going to be more costly to get capital, to use capital. The transparency will be much greater, so investors and analysts like me will be able to see more of what's going on. And though it is controversial, the role of the Federal Reserve, expanding the role of the Federal Reserve, which is legitimately controversial given the Fed's past history, the watching of any kind of financial institution that can, alone or with others, pose the kind of systemic risk we've had this time, the watching of it by a super regulator is, I think, very important.
Do you think the Fed is the right body to do that?
I can't think of any other alternative. My question is, who's going to watch the Fed in all of this to make sure the Fed really does what it does? The answer is Congress, and the Congress has to be a little tougher and a little tighter on the Fed and not quite so passive, in my view, and I see congressional reaction to the Fed here. And the markets have to watch the Fed, and markets and market analysts watch and comment on the Fed.
Allen, with all due respect to Congress, is Congress really the qualified body to watch the Fed?
It is the body by legislation. I can't think of any other alternative.
Or the creation of another one, just thinking out of the box?
Well, I don't think we'll necessarily do any better by creating another one. I think we take what we have, we work with it, we recognize the pluses and minuses, and for the future. And I think the Federal Reserve, current Federal Reserve, is very sensitive to what I'm saying, which is on the critical side, the benign neglect of the Federal Reserve under Chairman Greenspan toward the end and under Bernanke at the beginning of all of this stuff that was growing up under our feet. The Federal Reserve really wasn't watching as much as it should have. But I think in the future it certainly will, and I think it's the best we can do is to give them the systemic risk regulator role.
Allen, I heard you say this administration gets an A for effort with what they're doing, but specifically with what we think is going to be proposed, are there any standout points to you on either end of the spectrum? Something that stands out to you where you say this is a great idea and exactly how it should be done, or something on the flip side where you say, you know what, that's not the right way at all?
You know, the skin in the game is very important. What happened this last time around, you know, the idea that risk is self-regulating is true up to a point. The problem was, in the system, everyone sold off the risk, and so the risk was somewhere else, and so it was not self-regulating. The skin in the game reports today of the details of the securitization coming from Treasury, I think, is very positive. Perhaps there isn't enough requirement for skin in the game. 5% of loans or securitized assets is skin in the game for the financial institutions to do it. It's probably not enough. But having your own capital at risk is very important. The requirements for more capital, the kind of FDA-like regulations for the vetting of new securities and complex securities, the thought of separating out those ratings for the credit rating agencies for these loans and securities compared to the normal ratings, all of that is very, very positive.
Okay. Allen, we have to leave it there. We thank you very much. Allen Sinai, Global Chief Economist for Decision Economics.